Did I do that? Almost everyone who grew up or whose kids grew up in the 90s is familiar with Steve Urkel's catchphrase on the TV show Family Matters. The ultimate geek or nerd, Urkel was constantly running afoul of gravity, physics, and common sense. Since he was incapable of putting common things together, that's what common sense does, he was the perfect example of the person who just didn't get it and would say things that would have everyone rolling their eyes because there was no use arguing with him. Of course, in the fictional world of TV, those antics and pratfalls never resulted in real or permanent damage or injury or lasting hurt feelings, and the less than accurate statements didn't always need to be corrected. While the show was purely fictional, we all know people like that and can learn at least one important lesson about trying to correct other people's statements. Don't. Especially on Facebook. Based on what I've seen on Facebook recently, I think we all would do well to learn this lesson. Don't. Don't be that person who must correct everyone on the right response to everything, especially the coronavirus. Wear a mask or don't wear a mask. Well, that's your decision, and I'm not going to lecture you about it one way or the other. Nor am I going to listen to or debate anyone who wants to lecture me about it one way or the other. Looking back over personal experience when I've allowed myself to get caught up in those discussions, I almost always walk away asking myself, did I do that? And wishing I hadn't. Most of the time, those debates are really just arguments about different ways of doing the same things, and often the debate boils down to a disagreement about a difference in wording rather than thinking. And I must say, I'm intensely disappointed at how ungodly many of my brethren have become in their wording of discussions about this subject. I have no desire to discuss it, but it's so bad that I feel compelled to address the issue. Because while mask wearing is not a biblical issue, which is why I'm not discussing it, the attitude being displayed by some discussing it is a biblical issue. Brethren, even if we're not discussing biblical topics, again, mask wearing is not a biblical topic. We must apply biblical principles in how we approach the discussion. Now, this is not to say don't debate or discuss differences to clarify whether or not it's about thinking rather than wording. However, we must be able to openly talk about what God says and how to properly fulfill His requirements. That's a biblical principle. See Joshua 22 and Acts 15 for two really good examples. We'll talk more about Joshua 22 in the days ahead. But it is to say this, whatever the issue, be sure to carefully listen to what another person says or writes with consideration so as to understand what they're saying and with the grace to grant them pure motives, unless it's clear they aren't. Then make sure our response is appropriate and on point, and, I must add, adds value to the discussion. If there's genuine doctrinal error, and ungodly treatment of others is a doctrinal issue, then find a way to address the error without attacking the person. And if I'm the one being challenged, I need to be a grown-up and not take it personally, even if it was a personal attack. Brethren, don't be the one walking away lamenting, did I do that? And if it is us, we should be ashamed of ourselves enough to repent, apologize, and ask for forgiveness. Well, don't be ashamed by forgetting to come back for tomorrow's Morning Minutes in the Bible. Until then, this is James McClenny hoping you have a great day.